now, the case of two Massachusetts teenagers charged with physical assault and stalking is being deliberated by a jury. Their victim, Jason Walker, is in the hospital with 2 broken ribs and is being medicated for severe anxiety. He is a victim of physical bullying and far from the only one to have been injured to this extent by this phenomenon. Good morning, everyone. As always, I'm Tatum, and today I am strongly opposed to the resolution resolved that cyberbullying is more detrimental than physical bullying. I'd like to start by defining a few terms for you. Bullying is defined by the state legislature of Pennsylvania, according to the past 2007 anti-bullying statute, as an intentional electronic, written, verbal, or physical act or acts that is severe, pervasive, or persistent, and directed at a student that creates either a threatening environment, interferes with the student's education, or disrupts the orderly operation of the school. RespectToAll.org defines physical bullying as any bullying that hurts someone's body or damages their possessions, including but not limited to stealing, shoving, fighting, spitting, or damaging property. By the same source, cyberbullying is any bullying that happens over a technological device, including but not limited to email, instant messaging, social networking sites, and text messaging. The Free Dictionary defines detrimental as causing damage, harm, or loss, and more as greater or additional amount or degree. By these definitions, physical bullying causes more of a detriment to the victim and perpetrator because of the extent of damage to the victim, the helplessness of the victim and in bullying situations, and the larger degree of legal infringement. A study called Bullying, Stress, and Health identifies the most common injuries in physical bullying as bruises on the arms and hips, scratches and cuts from thrown objects, However, it also identifies physical bullying as often not the first bullying a student experiences. According to Elon University, 78% of students who are physically bullied have experienced some sort of verbal or electronic bullying prior. This means that physical bullying compounds and expands upon the damage already done to a student's psyche. A student who is worn down already will be more susceptible to a bully and more damage can be done. Dr. Peter Graham, who has been studying bullying since the 1970s, reported that students who are physically bullied experience many more negative consequences than just the damage done directly to their person and the loss of property. Most commonly, physical bullying can also lead to reduced immunity, insomnia, reactive depression, irritability, mood swings, low self-image, and trigger any lurking obsessive disorders. He has found that the extent of these symptoms has increased in victims of physical bullying since the rise of cyberbullying and has accredited this both to preemptive cyberbullying and increasingly popular zero-tolerance policies. Zero-tolerance policies contribute to the damage done to the victim and the victim's helplessness. StopBullying.org identifies Facebook and email as the most common outlets of cyberbullying. Both have blocking features, both have deletion features, and both offer physical evidence of abuse. This gives students some options to defend themselves. However, without any willing witnesses or security camera footage, a student being physically bullied cannot defend themselves without repercussion. According to the academic study Fight or Flight, the stress response, someone who is unable to indulge in either defensive mechanism, fight or flight, is very likely to internalize and normalize abuse. This means that those who are bullied are more likely to become bullies themselves. For bullying, this means and this perpetuates a cycle of abuse. Since the fear of physical retaliation can intimidate victims away from contacting adults, and beside which there is a history of schools not being proactive defenders of students who have been bullied, this leaves very few options for the victim. The law often punishes a retaliating victim as harshly as the instigator. This brings me to my third point, legal infringement. National and most state legislatures treat physical bullying more severely than its cyber counterpart and offer more punishments accordingly. This could mean restitution for the victim or further punishment if they have retaliated, but it more often means strict consequences for young adults and children. I'm not saying that these aren't deserved, but they do cause more detriment to the perpetrator than the punishment of typical cyberbullying. Western Carolina University reports that the average charge for a cyberbully is misdemeanor harassment. The average physical bully is charged with felony assault. Take the example I opened with. Jason Walker's 15-year-old bullies taunted him for months, destroying his self-esteem and school life until pushing him down in a hallway and kicking him until his ribs snapped. If convicted, they could face up to 15 years in prison. They could spend the entire current length of their lives in prison. It doesn't even have to be that severe. One 14-year-old was faced with sexual assault charge and registration on the sex offenders list for snapping his classmate's bra strap repeatedly. Or, if you'd like an illustration of just how bad bullying charges can get, take Phoebe Prince's bullies. Following Prince's suicide, 6 teens, 4 girls, and 2 boys were charged with assault, violation of civil rights resulting in injury, criminal harassment, disturbance of school assembly, and stalking. Had they been charged 3 months later, the passage of SB 275 would have added a bullying-specific misdemeanor, and if they'd been charged in Pennsylvania, they would have also faced sexual assault, sexual harassment charges, and penalties for encouraging suicide. In the end, cyberbullying has allowed the issue of bullying to expand, but it does not conflate with physical bullying. A victim of cyberbullying is not harmed to the same extent or is as helpless as a victim of physical bullying, and the cyberbully does not violate as many laws. A victim of cyberbullying does not have the same risk of developing compulsive disorders or a less effective immune system. A victim of cyberbullying has more avenues of escape and is less at risk should they choose to retaliate. So, ultimately, a victim of cyberbullying is harmed less, damaged less, and loses less than one of physical bullying. Thank you for the night.